Yo, what it do? Hope everyone's having a great day. Welcome back to the channel. And honestly, I love the QB situation right now for the Niners. I love the QB room. If you know how Shanahan and Lynch operate, I'm not sure why some fans thought we'd only have 2 QBs on the squad. I guess their perspective was we haven't had a backup as good as Jimmy G, so we only need 2 quarterbacks. But I don't believe Mullins was that ahead of Beathard. We knew both of them performed poorly. Unless Mullins was playing the Raiders, he's forever a legend for that. But we still kept both, even though they both played bad. We just simply like having 3 quarterbacks. That's how Shanahan and Lynch roll. And particularly this year, I love it. Brock Purdy has shown nothing but positive flashes of a solid backup quarterback. And honestly, a great quarterback 3, since he's going to be that. So, of course, when you see negative traits or certain situations happen in preseason, you can't really know how they're going to be in the regular season. Like a regular season packed house game or on the road. And same goes vice versa. Like if they show positive, traits and things they're doing is looking good on the field, you take that with a grain of salt and build your team around it. But you truly don't know how they're going to perform unless you see them in a regular game with the full flow of the offense and defense. And that's why training camp is so important. You're going against the defense, full starters most of the time. I mean, most of the time you don't have Bosa coming off the edge at you. But I love that they kept Purdy on the team and not Sudfeld. I thought they were going to keep Sudfeld just because they just paid him a decent amount of money for a backup, but they simply battled it out and then Purdy won. Another clear reason that they're keeping Purdy on the team is in case a trade for Jimmy materializes. We thought yesterday that the no trade clause meant that he had to stay on the team the whole year, but if you guys didn't see, we can actually trade him before the deadline, but we just have to have his consent. So if a trade materializes and Sudfeld and Purdy have been picked up by other teams and we're screwed, Purdy has shown he can handle the offense and he knows the playbook. We've always had 3 quarterbacks, and this year, even with Jimmy on the team, you can argue that having 3 quarterbacks was as necessary as ever, just because of that potential that we could trade him. And I also like what I read Shanahan and Lynch saying during the conference call. I'm going to read some of what Shanahan said. I saw this through our SF49ers. If you're on Instagram and a Niner fan, you probably know who he is. Hands down the best Niner page. So shout out to him. I'm always going into his lives. And also, I'm going to give a shout out to Eric Crocker on YouTube. Makes my mornings way better. He has a show, just talks about Niners. It's cool. You guys should give him you guys should go subscribe. But anyways, on this first slide, Shanahan says Trey Lance is our starting quarterback. Simple as that. So Shanahan is clearly just reiterating the fact that Trey is our number 1. There's a lot of people that somehow think Jimmy is going to start again week 1. I've seen a lot of people say that. It's like, what? This isn't the case, and it's 100% Trey's team. So for the second slide, there aren't 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. We believe that we have 2 of them on our roster. Now, I like this quote because it shows that confidence Shanahan has in his QB room. And also, it's just basic facts. Jimmy is a conference champion. And even though the defense and the run game were obviously the main factors of those runs, he was still the starting QB of those teams. His record shows that he's a winner. And then Trey is just obviously a starting QB since he was named QB1 of the team. Simple as that. But on this next slide, Kyle Shanahan said the move isn't any type of reflection on Trey Lance. This was, oh my God, Jimmy Garoppolo is available as a backup quarterback. So it's pretty insane how this offseason has led to this moment. It was pretty much the last resort for both parties, but at the same time, it actually ended up being the best thing for both, in my opinion. Jimmy is really dope for taking this pay cut, and now we have depth at the most important position. He's just such a professional. He easily could have forced his way out and just wanted to get more money on a different team, but it's cool. He wants to stay here, and now we have, like I said, a lot of depth in the most important position. Not only the first 2 quarterbacks, but I really do like Purdy. If you guys have been following me, you guys know I'm big on Purdy. So having him at QB3 is huge. So on this other slide, it says, when I told Trey that Jimmy's coming back, he said, awesome. There is no relationship to mend. Kyle Shanahan made it a point to state that there is nothing but good vibes between Jimmy G and Trey Lance. So this made me laugh just because seeing his response as a one-word answer, I could just picture him be like, awesome. He meant it as a positive thing, obviously, but Trey's always said Jimmy is like a big brother to him. Trey is always very professional and says the right things, but who knows what he really feels like. But something like that, like I was previously stating in my other video, you can't try to go in his mind and see what he really feels about it. I just think it's another way to make him better, because he's gonna say, damn, I have two pretty good QBs behind me. Jimmy's obviously been here. He's a fan favorite for a lot of people, even though a lot are ready to move on. Even the ones that do love him, like me, we're ready to move on, but I love having him as a QB2 with his new contract. If we kept him and he still had that contract last year, that'd have been ridiculous. So I'm very happy he took the pay cut. But Trey always says the right things. But you just gotta believe what the youngin says. You can't just try to go read his mind and to how he really feels. I think it's just a great position to be in. We have that important depth, and there was a report saying they talked to both QBs about this the last few days, and a clear part of it was the commitment to Trey Lance as QB1. So this is by far, to me, the best QB room we've had in a long time, and I'm confident going into the season. We're gonna have to see how it pans out. So the best thing that could happen is simply Trey just stays healthy the whole season and balls out. So the only instance, this is where it can get tricky, is if, and I think it'll be a bad decision ultimately, if say Trey gets hurt for a couple of games, he's out, he's rehabbing, Jimmy goes in, starts winning, and then Trey is ready to go, fully healed, ready to come back in, and then they just decide to stick with Jimmy. Now I think then this situation will be a big L, because then when is Trey ever gonna get those reps that, you know, the team, Kyle and Lynch and everyone on the team has been talking about? He can't get reps if you don't play him, so he needs to, for sure, if he's capable, play every single game this season. And Jimmy should only be there as any other backup QB in the league to come in when Trey's hurt, and then go back out when he's ready to come back in. Even if Jimmy's winning those games, we've seen where that's led us. It wins us games, but it doesn't win us Super Bowls. And that being said, though, even though Trey balls out, people gotta lower their expectations. I mean, we haven't won a Super Bowl in almost 30 years. Trey is just gonna, if he lives up to his expectations and his potential, bring us closer to that. But, you know, we just gotta have fun with it, hope everyone stays healthy, and then we'll have a great shot at winning it all. And that's gonna be, when we win it all, bro, I'm gonna be so happy. You already know I'm pulling up to that championship parade. We have to. That's gonna be the best one of all time. But hopefully the case of Jimmy coming in and staying the starter is not the case. And ultimately, Trey just stays healthy and through the whole season. That's the best situation. So with that being said, let's just hope we have a healthy and fun season, faithful. Peace.